Yeah.
I'm John Duda. I'm a trustee here at the Duda Fleischmanns Museum of Memories. The museum has been here for 40 years. A number of people in the village were concerned that we were losing our history, so back in 1978 they got the village to agree to let us use this building, and people donated a lot of material, lent material. So we are trying to preserve and present the history of Fleischmanns over the years. We have exhibits focusing on the railroad history here, farming, the great hotels that were here, the boarding houses, just about anything we can use to present the history here, which is a very rich history over the years and has a lot of interesting sidelights to it. Right, this was originally Griffin's Corners. A man named Matthew Griffin was the first postmaster here. The post office opened, I think, in 1851. As the first postmaster, he got to name it, so it was Griffin's Corners.
Okay.
And it remained Griffin's Corners. The Fleischmanns family came here in the 1880s. They built their property, an estate with a number of mansions on it on the other side of what is now Route 28 and the railroad. And they summered here from the 1880s until 1913. When they left in 1913, they donated the ball field on Wagner Avenue to the village. So to thank them for that, the village renamed itself Fleischmanns, thanking them for their gift. The big event that opened up this community to the outside world was the coming of the railroad. The railroad first came here in 1871, built up from Kingston. The original plan was that it would get produce from the mountains out of here, milk to New York City, bluestone, lumber. But a unanticipated result was that people from New York City found that it was nicer in the summers to come up to the Catskills than it was to stay in pre-air conditioning New York. So more and more people were coming up by train. This is before there were automobiles, so you could only go where the train brought you. And by 1903 to just before World War I, there were more and more guest houses here, hotels. If you got off the train here in Fleischmanns in 1912, you had your choice of 59 hotels and guest houses to stay in. That's how popular this area was. The heyday for the railroad was 1913. They carried 678,000 passengers on the Ulster and Delaware Railroad into the Catskills. As more and more people get the automobile, travel patterns change. You wouldn't just come here and spend the summer as the older pattern was. So that there was some decline in the hotels. A lot of hotels were lost to fire or neglect over the years. So what we have left are just a small number of the hotels. Although Fleischmanns has always had a draw, if you look around the nearby towns, this has always been the most open community, most welcoming. And this was true in the 1880s, which is why the Fleischmann family came here. And it remains true today, that it's a much more, I hate to use the word cosmopolitan, but a more open community.